Right now, the Petraeus Affair. This scandal quickly reaching telenovela status here. And with all jokes aside, it's leaving the careers of more and more people in its wake. When will this thing stop, and who is going to be left standing at the end? And next, after the storm, officials weighing some pretty unusual temporary housing solutions, but you do it too if you're talking about tens of thousands of people from our region as we hit the winter months without housing. If Sandy's knocked you out of your home, are you prepared to stay at a military base? Or how about a former prison? Well, these things aren't just hypotheticals, they could become reality. And later, 5 big ideas for America. It's a new dawn of the day when it comes to politics in D.C. The president knows he's already run his last campaign, so what does he do with the political equity? We're offering a few humble suggestions of where he could go with those last 1,461 days. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thanks so much for joining us this Tuesday evening, November 13th. Well, 2 of America's top military brass are now at the center of a sex scandal. General David Petraeus and now General John Allen. The fallout likely to grow as new details of this messy affair emerge. Our senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman, he's been following the story and he joins us with more.
And the story remains in free fall, Rich. We still don't know when or if we're going to reach the bottom. General David Petraeus' alleged affair with his biographer Paula Broadwell prompted his resignation. And now General Allen's future is also uncertain. He was set to become commander of NATO forces in Europe. That nomination clearly now on hold. D.C. stands still in the wake of yet another sex scandal, waiting to see the rest of the email trail that documented it all.
The scandal that started with former CIA Director David Petraeus' affair has widened. General John Allen, the top U.S. commander in Afghanistan, is under investigation for potentially inappropriate emails with Jill Kelly, the Petraeus family friend at the center of this bizarre story. A defense official says that under review are about 20 to 30,000 emails from the past 2 years that include both Allen and Kelly's names. Some are characterized as inappropriate and flirtatious, but another U.S. official said 95% of the emails in question are routine and harmless. Allen denies any wrongdoing, and for now, he'll remain the top U.S. commander in Afghanistan.
The president thinks very highly of General Allen and his service to his country, as well as the job he has done in Afghanistan.
But as for Allen's next move,
at the request of the Secretary of Defense, the President has put on hold General Allen's nomination as Supreme Allied Commander Europe.
The White House spokesman said the President was surprised when he was informed last Thursday about the Petraeus situation, asked whether the scandals were a distraction so soon after his re-election.
Well, I certainly, I think, wouldn't call it welcome.
The FBI has reportedly uncovered hundreds, if not thousands, of emails between Petraeus and his biographer Paula Broadwell, many of them salacious in nature.
The scandal came to light because of emails. Jill Kelly had received anonymous threatening emails that were later traced back to Paula Broadwell. General Allen also received one email traced to Broadwell. He found it alarming and told Jill Kelly about it via email, which may have triggered this entire investigation. Rich?
The whole mess is romper room here. All right, Andrew, thank you. I want to bring in the panel on this. Anthony Figliola, Vice President of Empire Government Strategies. Dominic, political journalist and author. And Andrew, who you've already met. Okay, we got late word today that the Intelligence Committee, they're going to hear from Petraeus himself here. Obviously, they got questions about Benghazi, but they also got questions about this. What kind of intelligence? Was it pillow talk? Did this woman get the intel from some other places?
And that'll all be behind closed doors.
It will be behind closed doors. Thank you. Okay, I want to talk about the political fallout here. Do you think, who do you think's most at risk beyond the principles we were talked about? You think it's at the Justice Department, that how could Holder not have known? You think it's this FBI twerp here who decides to go to the to certain members of the House, like Cantor and the rest, to cherry pick the people he wants to keep going with this? Or do you think the White House has to answer questions how they found out something just also happens the day after the election?
Well, I think, first of all, the FBI agent is obviously going to be somebody that's going to take a fall for it. The question is does the Attorney General have a role in this? Obviously, he knew. When did he know?
Now, you and I think he knew. I don't see how it's conceivable he couldn't. I think Dominic agrees with us, at least. I'll let Andrew speak for himself. But he has said to this point he didn't know, and the protocols said that it was kept at the investigative level, and they didn't bring in the AG on this.
Well, I'm not too sure about the Attorney General and what he did and didn't know, because if you remember Benghazi, he said he did know, and then he misspoke and he didn't know. So I think there's a lot of what ifs. But if in fact he did know, and he was talking to the president while Petraeus was over in Benghazi doing the debrief and came back and didn't tell the president, I think there's some issues there. But obviously, the issues like Fast and Furious, it didn't really touch him. So I would venture to guess and say that eventually it will not go past the Attorney General. It'll probably be somebody on a lower level.
We don't know at this point what Holder knew, or if he knew about it, and if he did, when he knew it. But that's not really the point or the issue at this point. It's who gets asked the questions. And as long as the cloud
every single one of them's
but
gonna
as long
ask
as clouds of questions are hanging over people, it's going to have a negative impact. So Holder's in it. He's in the barrel on this, even if he had absolutely nothing to do with it, until those questions are asked and he answers the questions.
Let me ask you, what's worse? That
the whole thing
no, but what's
stinks.
worse if you're a Holder? That you knew and you kept it basically at your level because you're not going to throw the president on the bus, or that you didn't know and that the Justice Department doesn't know about an investigation of the CIA director and you're the Attorney General?
Well, if it's the latter, the Attorney General will claim it's protocol now from the days of Hoover when, dirty tricks. So he will have cover if he says he didn't know. I think there's no way possible.
You and I both don't buy that.
Oh, right. Absolutely not. There's no. But the part that's scary to me, and hear me out for 10 seconds on this, how in the world does an FBI agent decides on his own that he doesn't like an email that his friend received that he may be romantically interested in, and he later sent the email with his shirt off, apparently, and he alone decides to bring this to the cyber unit of the FBI, and that starts an investigation.
And he also then reached out directly to a certain congressman,
That's
Eric
right,
Cantor.
when he wasn't happy. He's got to be fired.
Oh,
There's no way. I mean, do the rest can if I send Andrew an email he doesn't like, can he get the FBI to start an investigation?
To me,
Depends on what's in the email.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And please, you guys, keep your shirts on. All right. All right. We agree at least on this much. This thing's only beginning. All
It's
right?
only beginning,
Absolutely.
and the connection with the socialites and the generals.
And for me,
is
the
only
biggest
beginning.
thing, Anthony, guys, is the waste of time that we're going to do in this. Assuming no state secrets were passed, look at the attention. We now have the CIA. They're headless, basically. You got confirmations that are going on that are going to ground to a halt. All of a sudden, what's going on with the FBI right now? They're held. Who's going to be our leader on the ground in Afghanistan? As General Allen here, okay? And then, oh, by the way, we got a fiscal cliff that we'll talk about later in the show, fast approaching, but we're talking about this. All right. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to take you back to some of the storm-ravaged areas here throughout our region for me, what I believe is going to be the biggest issue facing our region with this story, and that has to do with housing. We all know how chilly things are getting out there. Now, if I told you tens of thousands of people in our region still have no housing or certainly no idea of where they're going to be long term, well, that's the question mayors and people from the state all the way to the feds have to wrestle with. We're going to be talking about that after this.